you guys are okay. I am actually a nurse as a profession. I get tested weekly for COVID. I do not have COVID, but it'll be easier for me to take my mask off to talk, okay? So I'm
Yeah,
one
they
of the-
test her constantly.
They
so-
test me constantly, so I'm one of the safest people to be around.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks,
thank
no
you.
problem. So my name is Joanna Michaels, and this is Christopher Stephen Jacobs. If you go out there in the lobby, there is a little table that's called The Lifting. And we actually started the lifting several years ago in 2017, where we wanted to kind of provide information and some lectures and different things to try and help people understand the world around them better, and also help everybody to learn skills that are not hard to learn, and you don't even have to be psychic to do it, that would enhance your lives, help you feel like you're under control better of your life. So we started that. Now Chris has been a psychic all of his life, born that way, born into the family that way. A mother is the same way. And if you actually, some of the cards that we gave you, one of them can take you to the website. And if you actually go to the website, you'll see a tab that says episodes, and that starts the shows. The first shows, the first block of shows that we did, the first one tries to explain as well as possible more of the world, unseen world around us and what's going on. And then you'll see a series of shows that talk about partly what we're going to talk about today: protection, discernment, what happens in dream time, things like that. And people had asked us to create some cards, because some of this is a personal responsibility of you taking charge of your life. So they wanted us to provide some things that they could look at, that basically they could say and assert themselves with, to either put a protection bubble or, you know, how to revoke things in dream times. And they wanted some examples. So what we've given you are some examples of things that we're talking about, but if you also listen to a few of the shows, it'll go along with that. But then what I really want to state is, we're not the guru, we're not gurus. You don't have to say something exactly how we have done it, but we wanted to provide examples, because you're in control of your own life. You can do your assertions how you want to do them, but there's some basic principles that we feel are very important for people to understand as they are taking better control of their lives. So one of the things, and I'm going to do this really quickly, because what we'd like to do is go over these skills and then allow you to ask any questions you want, especially since there's just 4 of you. There is nothing off the table, okay, as far as asking a question, and I can believe you, there is no shame, blame, or guilt in what we do, because we know that shame, blame, and guilt usually is what's used people and keeps them from growing. So we are anti that. So anything you feel you want to ask, anything your heart's telling you to ask, we want you to feel comfortable to ask. So a couple of premises of our basis of what we talk about. We have tons of shows, and if you go to the YouTube, there are tons of stuff on there, are a couple of basic principles. One of them, that is, we're not here by happenstance. This is a learning environment. This is why we are here. We do believe in reincarnation. Many souls come here and they're constantly learning and growing, lifetime after lifetime. It's not a mistake, okay? Number 2 is that we're literally great souls who have come here for an experience. We kind of connect to the body that we're currently in, and we're having the experience through this body, but we're not the body. We are great, great souls, okay, that are in the universe, and we come down here for certain learning experiences. Being the fact that I literally use the word plugged in, we're energetic beings, okay? Now, once we leave here, some people think we are going to look exactly like energetic bodies, but really we don't. We have other kind of bodies that we work out of, but our biggest self, I guess you'd want to say, is if I could kind of give you guys a visualization of how magnificent you are, you have to think of yourself as your grand universe. You're that big. You are huge. And you can't fit all of that into this current body. So you have to also understand that all time exists at the same time. We have in this learning expression time, and we've created time. We've created a linear way of thinking. That's not really how it is out there when we go back to ourselves, but we've done that, so there's no time. Everything exists in the now. So in yourself, being this enormous, grand universe, think of yourself, you're everything. You're the stars, you're the planets, you're every asteroid, you're everything. But then think in terms of all of your experiences as this is an experience over here, this planet. This is an experience I'm having as the grand me as this planet. You're having tons as the greatness of yourself all at the same time, but one of them is here right now, okay? In our world that we're learning and we're growing right now, one of the biggest things we're learning and growing about right now is what's really going on in the world around us better, because we are meant to expand. And one of the expansion ways that we're going to learn how to do is to, if you think of yourself as that grand soul, think of yourself then being the biggest library you've ever seen. How can I grab information, bring it back down for my purpose, and then put it right back like checking out a book? So a lot of times people are feeling that they are actually grabbing information from the universe when they're actually grabbing that information from themselves. Yes, the universe. Like you looking at you. Sometimes people think, that's always an outside guide, but sometimes it's yourself coming in to help yourself. Do you understand that concept? We're enormous. We are grand. We have so much going on. But part of the learning experience is that we would forget it. Because part of the goal is to see how much expansion can occur. Well, you got to kind of forget things sometimes in order to see if you can improve upon it, if you can expand more, if things like that can happen. So we come here for an experience, we forget the grandness of who we are, and then we go through an experience. In this learning expression, because there's plenty of others, in this one, the generalized learning is going from darkness to light. So if you think of it this way, what we mean by that is that we are the grandness of ourselves. We come in, we still have some of our skills intact. Everything is good. But then we actually kind of and again, I'm going to use linear, but linear isn't correct out there. It's just to understand. And you think about lower vibrations, and then you think about higher vibrations. So we'll use a line. So you come in here, and then slowly over time, you start to kind of drift into what we would call lower vibrations, okay? When you're dealing with lower vibrations, you're actually dealing with personality traits. Believe it or not, with generalized vibrations, there are certain behaviors that emerge with that. So in what we would refer to here as the lower ones, people are more animalistic, more basic survival skills, a lot of anger, a lot of fear. And that is associated with certain frequencies of vibration. And if we're vibrating there, those are kind of the behaviors that are within that frequency. As we begin to move, okay, then our behavior changes as we move up the frequency bandwidth, let's say. You get into another one, all of a sudden it's not just about your survival. You may be having a family, you're thinking about your kids, you're thinking about other people. And there is some consideration, there is, you can still go within there, but you may identify yourself more in here. As you move up even further, people have a tendency to be really thinking about, what's it all about? Do you see what I mean? What's life about? And they can look at a plant, a tree, a flower, and feel great joy for it, like a connection to it. We are meant to learn and grow in life, okay? What's really important about right now, this current present moment, it's not by happenstance that all this craziness is going on. Now, we'll even tell you, because we've been speaking about it for years, that we happen to also, even though we've said, well, guess what, guys? The waves are coming in, and there's going to be a lot of turmoil. As a nurse, I would say that there are a lot of wounds and a lot of things that need to come up and be healed so that we can be done with them, so we can move on. And it's even been to our surprise how dramatic some of this stuff has been.
This year, 2020, on some of the shows I'm on, I'm on one every week where we call this year the year of 2020 vision because of everything that's coming out in the open. Like just it doesn't matter how nasty anything is out there, anything horrible that's coming out, any skeletons, demons, anything that people have had in the closet are just coming out in one large tidal wave. And that's one of the things, that's one of the cornerstones of protection, is you have to get rid of the skeletons that are in the closet. No matter how much external protection you have, you got to get rid of the entanglements and rid of the old weights and stuff like that. Then the external stuff can serve you better at that point. That's how I've been experiencing.
So you have it personally going on, and you have it in in the environment. Mm-hmm. Let's not even mention politics. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. It's happening everywhere. It is not
on every level, on every.
It is not a mistake, because one of the things that again we try to talk about a lot is what is going on in the energetics and the unseen that people don't understand, that is affecting themselves, and so sometimes people get a little afraid of what we talk about. However, the truth of the matter is this isn't new. This has been so going on for so long in humanity. However, it's time for a change. And one of the unifying events that actually happened with all the souls on Earth was basically a cry out to say, I don't want this anymore. Okay? A generalized, I don't want this anymore. But in order to move forward, we have to understand, like Oz behind the curtain, we have to understand what's been going on so that we can make individual choices. Do you want a world like that or not? And most people are going to say no to some of these things. So that, again, a unifying event to change things and have them change into something that we want better. Now, why? It all goes back to what I was saying, the learning experience of going from darkness to light. And this is where I try to alleviate fears. So, if you think of the infinity symbol, okay, you think of that, right? Think about, in order to learn, you have to know both sides of a coin. To really understand something, you need to experience it from multiple angles, but experience both sides. And we've been into duality, good versus evil, right? Haves and have-nots. We've been going through exploring ourselves by exploring opposites. Now, most of us have had many lives, so what does that mean? That means you've been good in some lives and you've been rotten in others. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm an overachiever. I try really hard. So when I was dark, I was probably really dark. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. To understand it. Mm-hmm. So the goal right now also that's going on is that you finish out the balance of all of that and you come to hopefully a balanced point of understanding and are moving forward. So there's some people right now, or even yourself, you can be like, man, I'm mean. Well, you may be being mean because you need to understand it, because you were actually taken advantage of and very nice before in other lives. We experience it all. And in order for everyone to have their experiences, you're going to have some people that are coming in to be a certain way and some people coming in to be another way. The goal right now is for you to find yourself. Where am I? Because there's a lot of interference that are going to try to tell you who you are, but it's going to have to come from the inside, who I am. And it's very important because you want to shake off what is not needed to move forward in this. You don't want to be bringing junk in the trunk in these new energies, and I can explain that. But my point is, so going from darkness to light, we went down the toilet first. We experienced that side first. So how long have we been at this? 500,000 to 1 million years. That's how old this whole thing is. It's enormously old. We've gone down the toilet. So when you hear people talking about Armageddon, when you hear people talking about Nibiru, when you hear people talking about all these things that they're terrified of, or they feel need to happen, it's because it has already happened.
And when they're not acknowledging something that's attempting to come out and transmute, it shifts in front of them and they think that's what's actually going to take place.
So most of our thoughts, believe it or not, are not necessarily brand new. They're based off of something, and it may be, again, a genetic. Mary, you were there, because we actually, most of us were there. We all crashed and burned and went down the toilet. But if you think of it like this, so again, you're at a place, and we call ourselves the lifting because we fell. Now we're in a point of lifting. So you're falling from the great one you were, right? You go down the absolute toilet, right? AI took over. Everything everyone imagines, we've done it already. So you're basically going through that experience, but now you hit a point, are we going to circle the drain again? Or did we learn enough? Or are we going to try the other path? And the other path, the next stage of learning, is actually understanding more about unity and love. The opposite of the domination and control and all the toiletry that we actually went through. So unity does not mean you're going to lose your identity. One of the amazing things about us and about the skin suit that we inhabit is that we, as a human race, when we learn how to make this all work together, you have amazing co-creative abilities. We are co-creator beings. That's why one of the simple things, if someone's always dwelling on negativity, then there's something else negative coming in their life and something else negative coming. They're co-creating it. They're bringing it in. It's like they're telling the universe, I need to experience this. So one of the things that's been done to people over a long time is to have them co-create what isn't good for them. So now we have to learn about everything and dust ourselves off and start learning how to co-create in a way that benefits us and not necessarily someone else. So again, we're energetic beings, which also means that your energies that you are radiating out are no different than the energies in that little socket there, and you know that powers things, right? It's food. It powers our electrical stuff. Your energy can easily be taken from some other being who's using it and siphoning it off. Mm-hmm. The best example, I always use this example because everyone identifies with it, is going into Walmart. You go into Walmart, you're there for an hour, you come back, you're ready for a nap. All right? You go into certain places and you are completely and utterly drained from even a short time there. Your energies have been siphoned. Okay, so one of the first skills that we like to help people understand is it is now personal responsibility. You must understand that so that you can now understand how to protect your own energies. And so we're going to discuss that in a minute. One of the next skills, because again, people are going to start to have what they may be considering mystical experiences more and more. I think I saw something out of the corner of my eye, right? Or you hear them talking and you're getting this feeling that they're saying something unkind about you, but you don't hear a word. Mm-hmm. Or, do you see what I mean? Somebody walks in the room and you already know, well, this isn't going to go well, right? So you're reading energies. Everyone's skills are going to enhance more and more and more, being able to do that. Well, what do you do about that? What are we going to do about that? How are we going to handle that? So these are the things that are going on, but everyone's energies radiate out. And we're going to be learning more and more and more skills on how to deal with all of this, okay? But these things, you guys know, everyone in the room knows exactly what I'm talking about because you've probably experienced it. So the next thing with somebody coming in the room and you're getting this sense off of you is discernment. You must learn how to discern. And discernment actually means what is good for me at this moment. That's all it means. So I like to use this example because it's simple and everybody gets it. A second grader should discern that they shouldn't be in a physics class, right? But a 12th grader could discern they should be in the physics class. Mm-hmm. Okay? So discernment has to do with what's not good for me right now. And we're going to go over that and we're going to dust that skill off. Everyone leaving this room should feel like they can do this by the time they leave. So that's then about reading all the energies around you and what should I be involved in and what should I not be involved in. Again, 6 months from now you may be fine with it. But these are skills. In discernment, you need to trust. It's about what is good for you at the moment. And you need to learn to trust it better than anyone else around you. You know, a lot of us want to go to somebody else because they're feeling a discernment, and then it's like, well, what do you think? No, you have to learn to trust yourself, and that's been squashed out of
And
people.
also, like, say, if there's negativity around, or if there's a positivity around, anything that's for your highest good or not, if it doesn't feel right, don't go towards it or don't allow it. You know,
Right.
it usually boils down to those exact things. Feels right? Yes. If not, no. You know, it usually boils down to straight to that particular concept. I always tell people that in sessions, you know, when I tell them, you know, how to not invite something in they don't want or anything like that. If it doesn't feel right, just say, go away, you know, and claim your space in your home. Claim sovereign space, create a temple space in the home. Say only the highest vibrations can be in here. And discern basically what you want in that space and what you do not want in that space.
And the other thing we're going to talk about really quickly also at the end is what happens in dream time. A lot of things invade during them, but we want you to know. So we're going to, if you guys are good, we're going to go right now, protection, discernment, dream time. We're going to, because again, we want to cover this, but we want you to ask questions. And again, you'll see these lectures, longer versions of this. If you go to the website, you click on the app, you're going to see a lot longer hearing. And again, these skills will be gone over again. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing that you need to understand is, although he was soft-spoken right then, you ladies need to listen to me. You need to be, and please forgive my cussing, you need to be the biggest bitch you have ever been in your life with your intention. You cannot do this stuff with a maybe or I hope this works, because it's your intention now doing this. So when you say no to something or say absolutely not, you will not invade, you have to mean it with every fiber of your being, number one, and there is no other option. You don't allow, there isn't. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is it. There is no other road. This is it. So one of the things for a lot of women that's been beat out of them for their whole life is learning how to be assertive, because what have they called every assertive woman in the world, right? Mm-hmm. Just let that go, because I hate to say it was a ploy to kind of keep you from doing what you need to do, but you have to be that way. Now again, it doesn't mean you have to be that way to your neighbor's friends, but when you are setting an intention and you are doing something, you must take control in a very non-diplomatic and almost aggressive way, that you mean it. It just is, because free will is a part of our experience. What's been happening though before is that we haven't been asserting it, so there's all these loopholes, maybes. There is no maybe. Maybe means something's going to walk right in, because it's not going to believe you're serious.
Yeah, maybes, yeah.
So you have to understand, when I mean aggressive, assertive, you must learn to be that way with your intention when you're doing this. So protection, how do you protect? You have to see yourself as more than this body. You have to see yourself and get a feel for where you think your energies are. So right now, when I came in, here, have this, right? I was like this big. Right now, I'm woo, right? Probably everyone can feel my energy streaming out, which is intentional. So you can control, it's like going into work saying, I'm not going to have one of these rotten meetings again. I am claiming this room from the moment I walk in. And this is how this meeting's going to go. Now, you don't even have to take over the meeting, but you assert your energies. You may start to see changes that begin to happen, because you are actually now energetically engaging with what you feel should or should not happen, okay? So just keep these things in mind. But protection is not that hard. This third eye works right hand in hand with your imagination center.
So heart space in this, yeah.
Yeah, and so basically the goal is always, to not be afraid to envision with your imagination. It doesn't matter what you envision, but engage it because it works hand in hand. And then the heart space, when we talk discernment, we're going to talk about that. One of the biggest things also is being in the moment, meaning I'm not thinking of my grocery list. I am not thinking of anything right now but communicating this information to you. I'm not paying attention to a clock. I am in the moment. You'll find that when you start to be more in the moment, you're actually going to feel, if you're trying to get something across, you're going to feel an energy movement that may start in here because your thoughts are coming from your head. You believe currently, not always true, but you believe that. You'll feel it shift and it will leave through here. Okay? Be in the moment. You'll feel the energies shift. And you could be talking to a friend who's having a problem and you are focused on them and they're communicating with you. You're not pre-thinking up answers. You're listening and then you respond. You may find that you all of a sudden have the ability to be able to answer questions or whatever, and you're like, did I just say that? Did I just, but it will most likely 95% of the time be what they needed to hear. Because you want to know what you did? You ran up to your library and you checked out the book real quick to help you with the answer. It was a download from yourself. So more and more people are going to, if they live in an authentic way with this, they're going to be having conversations that actually amaze themselves. I don't remember learning that. Where did I come up with that? But it's going to be right for the moment, and you're going to feel it leave here. So again, all of these things, intention, right? Living in the moment, meaning it. So simply envision what you want. The easiest things to start with, some people just like to put a bubble around them. And when we say bubble, we mean cover the feet and the head as well.
Bring it out from within and then surround yourself in it. Some people visualize a crystal around them that's extremely thick. Others envision different shapes, different colors. I basically surround myself in armor, because I take on different entities and stuff like that require it. Just like almost like a knight's armor or something, like some people do that. It just depends on who you are and what purpose you have in this. But yeah, you can just come up and imagine your own thing, kind of like with Green Lantern, where he would kind of create those constructs and stuff like that with his own will. That's the basic premise for that.
And so what are you doing with this bubble? You're saying nothing can take my energies and nothing can come in that is not for my highest good. And so another phrase you need to understand, highest good. What is for my highest good? Now,
sometimes you may learn something from something negative attacking you, which was actually still for your highest good to do so.
Right.
Then you knew how to repel them from that point forward.
Right. And so it could be even the good wishes of others that you're protecting yourself from. Because sometimes with us, we've had people say, you guys look tired. You need to rest. So you know what happens?
Thought forms can be harmful
You
too.
get tired and need to rest.
Right. And so you know what happens? The read requests start coming in. So there's a show that we've done, it's the negative effects of good intentions. So what you should do for others, wish them their highest good. Wish them their highest good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Don't form a construct or
Don't
an
decide
image
what that is.
don't form it for them.
Wish
to
them
say for
their
the
highest good. Now, we say that because sometimes there's an overage of negativity around them, and that would mean that you don't want to see the overage there. But we don't actually know what is benefiting somebody in their life journey or not, right? But if you send out the general statement, I just wish you your highest good, with that intention, it really is a very loving, caring intention, but it's also recognition that I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're trying to learn this life, but I will wish you your highest good, that you get out of life exactly what you are wanting. And sometimes, again, you're supposed to hit a speed bump every now and then, but wishing them their highest good is saying it's only supposed to be a speed bump, not a head-on collision. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So wish them that.
So when you're saying wish someone else their highest good, can that actually relieve all that awfulness that they've been projecting?
It's an interesting thing you say that, because the answer is it depends. Because if they're supposed to be a curmudgeon so that you learn to walk away from them, you're not going to do anything, because they're supposed to be a curmudgeon. And they're supposed to be this way, because part of the experience is that people need self-worth to walk away when something is discerned not to be good for them.
Yeah, that person may be put there in your path so you know to do something else.
And if they're having to be a curmudgeon this life because they've been so good in other lives, they know what it needs to, they need the full experience, meaning they may need to know what it's like to have people walk away from them. Again, because you have to think of it as more than just this one life. It's the balance over all of them that you're looking for.
I don't know that word, curmudgeon.
Mean, grumpy, never says anything nice, could really just always make you feel bad. So like a curmudgeon, kind of
One of those people,
personality,
yeah.
right? And you're like, I want to take away all of this negativity around them to make them better. And it's like it may not,
Okay.
that may be how they're supposed to be right now. Because they may have had a lot of lifetimes where they were good and taken advantage of, and people were mean to them. In order to have a full balance, you have to play both sides. You have to be both.
Yeah, just like I've seen past lives, for instance. This is actually a very interesting minor story, let's just say. Was psychically attacked by someone at some point that thought I was actually doing wrong in actually clearing entities, because that's what I usually do. I usually can tell when it's something that's overage and not part of that whole curriculum we've been talking about. What happened was this particular individual had been in a past life of mine where I had been the aggressor against her. And what it was a cycle coming to a close. It's what I call a reciprocal, some people call it karmic, but it's more like an energy flow, to where this cycle is now coming to a close and ironing out. Past that point, when I resolved that past life issue, this person kept doing it. That became overage. That became my department at that time to fix it, and not to stop this person from doing it.
That's tricky to know if that is paid back from past lives or if it's new karma. It's kind of tricky to know.
Yeah, when it hits the new karma, then you usually can kind of tell. If you can put a stop to whatever it is, it's usually something new that's forming, other than what was the past life thing. Because if they keep at it and you've already resolved the thing within yourself, they're being belligerent, stop them. But at that point.
But that's why you go with wishing everybody their highest good, because you may be meant to go through this. Okay, but let's make it a speed bump, not a head-on collision. If that's all I need is a speed bump,
Yeah, it
right?
doesn't need to be hitting a brick wall at 90 miles an hour. Yeah.
So the other thing that I want to make clear as we talk about protection and we talk about things like that is understanding that everything exists. Okay, I know a lot of people use the word angels. We see the word angels as more of an umbrella term for a lot of different things underneath it. Most people think religiously, the angels with the wings, things like that. But I always try to point out, I understand and I know what part of your intention is, but there are also what, even in the Bible, negative fallen angels. So when you're calling in an angel, if you're just using an umbrella term, you're not going to know what you're going to get. So I'm like, please recognize, people are afraid to talk about the negativity. We talk a lot about it because they've been taught to believe something that's not true. Just because you talk about it, you do not conjure it. Conjure it comes from intention to conjure it.
They always say, saying a name of a demon or the name of this will conjure it. Yeah, if you believe that. If your intention is to do that, you're going to bring it right in. But if I'm saying a name and I don't believe I'm going to bring it in, nothing's going to happen.
Right, because they're going to use your co-creative abilities with this.
Since they don't have it. Yeah.
So there needs to be real good acknowledgement that all sides actually do exist. Because one of the enhancements is to learn, how am I going to bring something in that is for my highest good versus not for my highest good, right? So we try to tell people, again, there's no guarantee you're not going to still hit a speed bump, but it may be you could just maybe do a speed bump, not a head-on collision. Ask for benevolence for your highest good. Benevolence. Okay, so you're being even more strict on what you want to potentially come in and help you. You're trying to knock out half the row of who could actually kind of come in. So you have to understand that it all exists. Now, how am I going to really make it clear what I am expecting and what I want to come in right now? You have to get more specific on what you're saying. And again, it's hard to cover all of this in this short amount of time.
We're about halfway through.
Right, so we, you know, we're going to speed this up a little bit, but give these things consideration. Do you want, or do you want benevolence for your highest good? And I would say for everyone here, of course, I want benevolence for everyone's highest good. And I just believe that. But some of us are meant to be cranky in life. Some of us are meant to be mean. Some of us, but it's now you need to find who you are. Protect your energies, use your imagination, whatever you want to do. Some people like to surround themselves with mirrors and then turn it outwards because they're like negative doesn't want to see itself. That's fine too. It doesn't matter what you do, but you better mean it. No ifs, ands, or buts. No, maybes. You mean it. And then what I tell you to do is you put your stuff on in the morning or right before you walk into Walmart, you put it all on, right? Test it out, because what we're trying to teach you is give you the confidence that you can do this. This is something that everyone is born in that can do. They just haven't been taught. Go into Walmart, do your shopping. You're like, I'm feeling pretty good, right? You have spared and kept your energies to yourself. Try it out. Everything that we do and everything we talk about is so people can try it. Now you can't just do it once because it's hard to maintain that. So you have to keep at it. But you will prove to yourself that you can do this for yourself. And that's what the important part is. Mm-hmm. So the next part now is discernment. Okay, what is good for me and what is not? Something in you guys felt that I feel like I want to go hear that lecture. Okay, I'm assuming no one's in here now regretting it, I hope, but that you felt drawn to come in here. So we're going to talk, again, discernment is what is good for me now, and then what maybe I need to give pause to or not involve myself in or not look at. It could be a TV show. We always tell people, if you're listening to us and this show that we're talking about makes you discern, turn us off. You don't have to listen to everything we say. Discern what is good for you now. You could revisit something later. If you're not obligated to listen to a show, to watch TV, to watch the news, to listen to your neighbor, to pick up the telephone. You're not obligated. Discern what is right for you. So we're going to dust this off. Everybody was born with this. And especially since we're all women in here right now, it has been stomped out of you since you were a child. Discernment. Think right now. This is the exercise. And if you can't do this right now because you're feeling a little tense, please practice this at home. Discernment. What is good for me? That's what we're going to talk about first. If you can, take a moment and you can think about something you really love. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be food. Right? The restaurant we're going to, right? Food or cooking. It could be chocolate. It could be your pet. It could be your spouse. It could be a child, a grandchild. It doesn't matter. It could be the plant that you're growing. It doesn't matter. What you need to do is take some time and you need to think about it. And if you can do that right now, please do. Think about that. Think about the relationship. Think about admiring the flower. Think about eating the food. Think about what you're doing. Think about the joy it's bringing you, either the interaction or holding the baby, whatever it is, the puppy, it doesn't matter. Think about it. Think about your interaction. How does it make you feel? Because how it makes you feel is the most important part. When you do that, and if you are able to do that right now, you will feel from this part of your body a bubble that starts to form that's trying to push its way out. Did anybody feel that? You felt that? Mm-hmm. If you cannot feel it, it's because we're trying to do this quick. Please work on this at home. You must take the time and really engage with it, and then you realize there's a bubble forming in my chest it's like if it was standing right there, it's like pulling me to it, okay? That is discerning a positive, okay? This is good. This is good. What is negative? Think of something you hate. It could be a person, right? It could be anything. It could be I hate watching news right now, right? It could be I hate going to Walmart. It could be anything you hate. Anything. Engage with it right now. Engage with it, okay? What people will feel is going to be right here. It's going to be like a fist that hit here that's trying to almost bend you over, okay? It's going to be a feeling that hits you where people say, I'm feeling sick. Does everybody understand the feeling that I'm trying to describe? That is telling you this is not good for you. Everybody was born in this way. No one didn't have this skill coming in, but it started to be beat out of you when you were a child. The very first time I like to use as the example, I always use the same one because most people can identify, is the simple fact of when you saw your parents arguing and you went up to them, bug-eyed, all concerned, I have to put peace back, right? You're all concerned, and they both turn around in unison and say they weren't arguing. Then you have to make a decision. Am I going to trust what I felt, or am I going to trust these people who just told me I didn't know what I was feeling? Okay? It starts then to ignore what you just felt. For girls, it's really easy. I'll go on and on. You're supposed to get along with everybody in the playground. You're supposed to be a peacemaker. You're supposed to love everybody. Even every ounce of you says that I don't want to go over there where Susie, Jean, and Billy Bob is. But you've been told you must, right, get along. And you're ignoring everything in you, but you feel like you have to obey that adult and you have to go over there. And most likely you have a miserable experience, right? Because you learned when you're a young girl, a teenager, you're supposed to not hate anybody. So everything in the world may tell you as you're walking down the street, I don't want to get near this person that's coming this way towards me, right? But you're ignoring it. Many a woman have been hurt, raped, because they ignore that feeling. They know in advance they should have crossed the street. They know in advance, but they have ignored it, ignored it, ignored it. This is what I'm talking about. This skill is innate, but it's been pummeled. You must dust that skill off. When it gets really good, and I always say, then you got a problem, because what you're going to find out is all of the things that you've ignored your whole life. When you review now your work, everybody in it, this, that, and the other, I'd love to say you're going to feel a bubble, but you're not. You're going to feel a lot of this because, you know, work may not be right. People you're trying to be friendly with, right? Everything you're trying. And so the question then becomes, what are you going to do about it? Well, I hope you realize you should honor yourself. You are not obligated to bake goodies for the church. You are not obligated to do all of these things. You've been taught you must. But now what you're supposed to be learning is how to honor yourself and what is good for yourself. And a lot of women have taken on a lot of stuff that ain't good for themselves because society told them that. You now have to look at everything. We always say deny the known and manifest differently. Look at everything, and then you have to decide, is that truly how I felt, or did someone else tell me to feel that way? Right? You have to start. So a lot of what we're talking about is inner work, inner work, inner work, but it's possible, and everyone can do it if they choose to want to take the time to do these things. And then what do? Well, you start making changes in your life, okay? You start working at that and honoring yourself. So discernment moving forward in these energies, let me tell you something. I know everybody wants to meet aliens. We're not ready to meet aliens. They have telepathy. They have things. They know your thoughts better than you know your thoughts. They have all kinds of skills. And let me tell you something. Some very bad things that are not good for you are going to come in a really good looking package.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ETs out there that may look pretty, but they're ugly in here. I shouldn't say a lot, but there are several.
Right.
And they're going to come down, they're going to schmooze you. They fall under the demon category as far as I'm concerned. And they're going to look really pretty, you know, male, female, doesn't matter, you know. And I've been tricked by this too, with beings like this, you know. And my mother would always say, evil comes in pretty packages. So, and the multitude of different beings, we only got 15 minutes left.
That's
so
fine, no, let's keep
Sounds like
moving.
a couple of my ex-boyfriends.
Yeah.
Correct, happens all the time. And again, they cannot sustain it. You will feel the energy no matter
Eventually,
how
you're going to
pretty.
see them, how ugly they are
And
inside.
then what are
They
you
can't
gonna do
sustain
about
it.
it?
Yeah.
It's real, it happened, I've been there, believe me. I mean, it's not like, we know this from the school of hard knocks, believe me, we know.
Oh yeah, I've run into every manner of being that I've had to shove out of people's homes, from negative elementals to God knows what, demons that look like clouds of the face, to aliens that look like real pretty people that should be there. I've even seen people that have fallen in love with the being, and this being has come in to basically just take complete advantage of them.
Steal their energies.
Steal their
All
energies.
kinds of things.
And energies can be stolen in a number of different ways. Usually it has to be taken with consent. Dreamtime is one of the worst. You go in there though, and you see a dream where somebody is handing you something or chasing you. That's usually alien abduction too. But chasing you, handing you an object, eating food, you see any of those things, a being is trying to gain a contract from you. Just no different than signing or a drop of blood. It's the same thing. If you see a being chasing you in the dream time, turn around and confront it. Take control of the dream. It's your escape. It's your world. Take control of it. It's an invader in your realm, basically. Take control of it, turn around, see what the hell's chasing you. It could be anything from a werewolf to a lizard to a bug. It could be anything like that. Sometimes they'll change shape, so you're thinking, it's something innocent, like a child. And I've seen all manner of demons in the walls of people's houses. Some take the form of children. And you have to discern at that moment. You also have to feel it out. Does this feel right? Does this feel heavy or dense? Sometimes it's bone crushing. These things could be in the walls. Somebody says, oh, the house is crushing me. Now, there's probably a demon wandering around in your ductwork that is actually crushing you. Now, can a building gain a consciousness after a while? Kind of like the whole Shining thing? Yeah, that can actually happen too. Not quite to that extreme, but no, that's a real concept.
But let's
right
go
there,
back to
yeah.
Dreamtime real quick and finish.
Okay, yeah, Dreamtime. What you do, it's something to get sidetracked, but back in the
Short
dream
time.
time, when you wake up every morning, especially if you've had some weird stuff happen.
Or even if you don't remember, because
Even if you don't remember
everyone
at all.
dreams. Okay,
And
bottom line, everyone's going to be dreaming at night. Sometimes they don't want you to remember, okay?
And also, in this, there's a revocation. It's one of the most potent revocations that we've ever gotten. And it goes like this. And then have your name in a blank. Revoke any agreements made in dream time with any malicious being and or beings. And as soon as you do that, you're going to feel a world of difference. Even if you get up to pee in the middle of the night, do it. And it works. It really does work. And in those envelopes you've all gotten, there is one of those Dreamtime revocation cards in there.
So you do it because people don't realize, and then again, like I said, you're going to build your own confidence. Well, how am I going to build my confidence by doing that? Because your days are going to go a little better.
You're going to see all those.
Work day isn't so bad.
To eat?
Oh yeah, in Dreamtime, sometimes you'll actually see like you're in an eating place. Sometimes this has been mistaken for gaining knowledge. I suppose this is still true if you count figuring out the deception in Dreamtime. But you're going to actually see food in dreams. Don't eat it. Don't touch it. If a being's trying to hand you something, put your hands up like this
Don't
and say
take it.
no. Don't get in any vehicles if somebody opens a door to a building or a vehicle in Dreamtime. Don't do it. Don't shake hands with anybody in Dreamtime at all. I've seen that too.
Now, we say that knowing that no one can control, well, most people can't control their dreams yet, because what we're saying is eventually you will
I need to
control
tell you
your
about the
dreams.
dream I had this morning.
Oh, what was that? Let me see what's going
Oh,
on. here.
a dream just before I woke up. It woke me up before 7. I was like, if I felt rich. I was in this big house, all full of wood on the floors, the walls, everywhere, and it was supposed to be my house. I just found out that my family was very rich, and they told me, and that is your bedroom. And then there was this man. I can describe him, tall, thin, kind of bald with glasses and a goatee, and then he gave me something like a wooden piece that looked like an old figurine of like Santa Claus or like a monk with a the hat like that pointy and the beard, and then it was wooden. And then he said, and this is for you. And he said that it was strychnine. Strychnine. And I Googled it this morning, strychnine is poison. It was strychnine, and then I even say, oh, what is this? This is something that you put in your coffee? Yes, you put in your coffee and like a wooden spoon. And then I say, what is this for? It's for like migraines or something like that. And then he actually say, this is for when you have three days or 3 weeks of electricity and 2 weeks of lightning. And I'm like, what that's supposed to mean?
Yeah,
And it was I remember the word strychnine, and I'm like,
Yeah,
And
that's a deceptive being right there, because essentially, the part of their magic is they got to tell you at least some of the truth. He told you that was poison as he was giving it to you.
Strychnine. He said it's strychnine.
He told you it was poison as he was
Right.
giving you, but he used a weird word with it, hoping you wouldn't notice what the hell it was.
strychnine. And then I thought maybe in homeopathy they use that at a very low dose, and it's because sometimes they use like poison.
No, that's not what was going on.
Nope.
You want to find a positive, rational reason for this. But what we're trying to say is no positive being is going to come into your dream time and do that. No positive one. It's the negative ones that are going to come in to try and take advantage to set you up for an agreement that you just made that, and he just told you for 3
He told you
days. and
straight
he said-
up.
He just
Yeah.
told you for the next 6 days, I'm going to torture you.
So they
He
have to
basically
tell
said
you
what
a
he was
little bit
gonna
of the truth.
They gotta add that in there
if
because
you
part of the
ask-
magic won't work without.
Well, and
so.
if you ask, but sometimes they don't. We went
Sometimes
through
they
a
don't,
series, if you
but,
listen to the Dreamtime show, you'll hear us talk about a series of dreams that our guides put us through. It was almost
To show
like
us what these
Groundhog
beings
Day
were
to
doing,
show us
yeah.
some of the examples of what was
Right, I came
happening.
here today
Yeah, I
because
can
You know.
guarantee you he was a trickster because you
Absolutely.
literally could see, he even more likely showed you what he looked like.
Yeah, I saw
so,
him and
yeah.
I described him
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
So that's
the wooden
perfect.
piece,
Perfect example.
This is strychnine, and I was even thinking maybe this is medicinal.
No, because he wants you to think that. The goal is to trick you. Of course I'm benevolent. Of course I'm nice.
So what do you say before you go to sleep?
You can
at
say
night?
the beginning, you can just say, I revoke any dreams I'm about to have and agreements I made, but make sure you
Wow.
also do it in the morning.
Yeah, you can do it beforehand. too,
Do
like
it
that, yeah.
before, do it after.
That was
You're
right
right.
on, yeah.
That's perfect,
Yeah.
and that's
Ever
what
have good
happens.
stuff come into your dreams?
Well,
that
most
is really
definitely, yeah. Good things will happen in dreams. Yeah, the good guys will and guides and benevolent source and everything will give you information in dreams. It's supposed to be a flow of information. Sometimes of what you're supposed to correct from past lives. Other times it's messages. But it's those bad beings that worm their way into that conduit and harass you and actually try to create their own little bubble inside of your bubble, and that's not allowed. They're
So
not
the
supposed
goal
to do
is
that.
get
Yeah.
rid of what doesn't serve you, so more of what will serve you comes in, is really what part of this is.
Oh, yeah.
But that's perfect. I couldn't have asked for someone who had just a very current, present example. But don't be afraid, because what we're trying to tell you is that eventually your skill levels are going to be that when you're in your dreams, you're actually a part now of it, and you will start to gain control or whatever.
Yeah, you gain more control
You
over
will
it.
gain more control of it. But right now, one of the biggest ploys is that people say they don't dream. Well, then the beings don't want them to remember their dreams.
Yeah, see, that's how I was for
Yeah.
years and years and years, and just lately, I've started knowing that I dreamt.
Right.
Like waking up, like,
Right.
and knowing I dreamt something.
Right.
And for years, ever since I was a kid, I never thought I dreamt.
Well, I intentionally, because I had so many nightmares as a young person, and those were intentional too. They're what sometimes kids, they try to break them down early, and that I didn't want to dream anymore because all my dreams were nightmares. And so, I willed myself not to remember the dreams. So just like you can will yourself not to remember, which is partly probably what you did as well, you can also re-will yourself to remember them if you want to. So some people do little tricks. Some people will put a little glass of water, they'll put a clear crystal in there with that intention to help me remember my dreams. Sure, if you
that
want a
does
little
work.
aid to help you or whatever, but if you just put that intention out, I want to start remembering my dreams, and you do it strong enough, you actually will, because everyone does. But that's one of the biggest unknown invaders of things that come in and then mess with you, is they take advantage of that dream time.
Yeah, and don't, like I said, don't let them chase you down either. If you're running through a forest, you're running through a building, something like that, always turn around and see who the hell's chasing you, because even if it's creepy, scary, it's your area. Become whatever you want. Become a giant and squish them. You know, it's like if it's like some big creepy reptilian or something like that, become bigger than them and just squash them.
So the point of the whole discussion, because I know
Yeah.
we're getting to the end, and if anybody has questions, that great. And again, we've spent plenty of shows, individual shows on each one of these topics, but the goal is empowerment. Yes, you can do something about it. That's the bottom line. Yes, you can. You are greater than you ever can imagine. We are meant to be going through what we're going through now, and you are meant to learn skills that will help move you forward to start creating more of what you want and more of the world that you want. And then we learn to work together, to co-create together as well. So it's not, a lot of people, again, they don't want to talk about this, but we need to in order to help empower people so that they can. And again, we didn't do anything magical on you guys, because the bottom line is you're going to go back, you're going to do some of this, and you're going to realize, I think there's something to it, because these are individual skills that everyone can easily begin to incorporate in their lives. In their lives, they will see positive changes occurring. And again, so don't put into your mind maybe. You will see positive changes occurring when you start to, be more of your authentic self, assert your sovereignty, and, do some of these skills. But we talk skills all the time if you, again, want to continue listening to any of the shows. So, what questions?
Any questions anybody have?
We try to cover so
when
much.
you're talking about dreaming, that's lucid dreaming, when you can go in there and you're dreaming.
Right, but we're talking we're talking dreaming. So yes, there is lucid dreaming, but we're talking the real dreaming time.
Regular
Yes, you
dreaming,
will
yeah.
eventually
But you can
be able
lucid
to
dream
be in
and turn
that as
around.
well and control it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I've ever had a dream running, I can never run in a dream. I can't get anywhere.
Not at this,
My body
maybe not
can't
at this
do it.
current present moment, but don't say that. Yes, you will.
You'll get
Yes,
to that.
you will.
But I
That
don't
was
think
one
I
of the
was
events
running
that
from
we.
anyone, I don't recall that. I just remember trying to walk or do it, and I can't move in a dream.
That's a different, some of that stuff, that paralysis is actually a negative entity right now. Almost think of it laying on you, sucking your energies out.
And in the
So-
dream state, you're seeing that
So you're
weird.
seeing that,
They could have been
differently.
physically in the room with you at that
I
time,
just
yeah.
have to encourage you to say, right, maybe not at this current present moment, but where we're going is this. The only reason I can tell you that is I, again, myself was put through these series of exercises where I didn't control anything going on. But by the end, it's like, and my scenario was a doctor trying to give me medication. I'm a healthcare worker, right? So here is a doctor trying to give me medicine. And of course, you're going to take it, right? You're going to take it. But in the end, I didn't take it. And you know what the being started to do? And I say being, but it was a human. He was throwing the pills at me.
When she
Because I
refused,
wouldn't take them.
like that.
So it's not true that we will, these are the skills, and we will learn to control not just lucid dreaming, but regular dreaming better. But again, we're not perfected. We're learning these skills to do these things. We just want to help people understand that yes, this is where we're going. You're going to, and you may currently now, hear other people's thoughts. And it's hard because you have to give them grace. Everybody deserves a little privacy in here, that something happens to me and I slammed my finger in that door because someone else went out. Now, I wasn't quite paying attention. I slammed my own finger in the door by not paying attention, but I'm blaming the person who just left for being inconsiderate. Let's be real. Do we not do things like that, right?
Yeah.
How would you like it if that person that son of a, that inconsiderate, right, bleep, 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 going on here for a moment until you gain your self-control and you realize, well, maybe if I wouldn't have been talking and jabbing and I would have actually put my hand in the right spot, right? Take a little more personal response and you balance out, right? But your first reaction, what if she hurt you? Because that's happening now. You could be in a room and you're not looking at someone and they're not talking and you're like, what'd you say? That's happening now because we are starting to read other people's
Pick up
energy.
on-
So I'm always like, please give people a little grace if you're starting to experience that.
You might be picking up on something that momentarily they're not who they actually are. They're actually pissed off about something. You're picking up on that.
And you're picking up on that
Yeah.
moment of just frustration because we're meant to ride the whole spectrum of emotions. And then you normally settle into, really who you are. But we are growing and expanding. And that's part of this craziness that's going on now too. Because those types of misunderstandings are also a part of this craziness. Fightings and fight whatever, because they're like, that person said, they didn't say a darn thing. It was in their mind, but you kind of heard something and you're ready to fight. All of this stuff is starting to happen now because we're meant to expand and then learn how to kind of be a part of that new energies and learn how to control it better. But we're not perfected now. We're going to learn how to do these things and learn to understand them.
Did either one of you two have questions? I know you didn't ask anything or... Huh?
No?
No? Did you have anything?
No, not right now.
Okay.
So at the same time that we're expanding and stuff, they're kind of trying to control us and keep us where we are.
Yeah, and they don't want us to go,
expand.
yeah, because then we would have control over their domain, and they don't want that.
Kind of
Yeah.
like the politicians.
Well, that's the whole point. Think about it this way.
Theater of
Remember we
puppets,
said
that's
the
what I
bad
call that,
experience is
so.
more of getting into the worst part of domination and control that you allowed yourself to get a part of. If you were playing, some of these beings have played that role over and over and over and over again. It's kind of was their job. Play that role over and 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 over. Would you want to give it up? It feels good,
Thousands and thousands of years where
Would you
these
want to
beings
give it
are in
up?
control, yeah.
Because if they give it up, then you're like, I may not have anything to do anymore. I may even not exist anymore. I may not even, right? So you're correct in what you're saying. There is effort by certain things to keep people more suppressed. And keep them, like, remember we were talking about the energy vibrations? Keep them. Those actually correspond to the 3 lower chakras energy, type of energy. There really was it's something we've talked about before, there really was a block placed right here to make it even harder to move up into the heart space.
Yeah, the bad guys put a series of blocks in the energy centers very long time ago, but we're actually weeding out of those. Those are becoming obsolete.
The energies are rising, they're kind of not working like they used to, but all of that stuff is all related in this kind of energy thing that people don't quite know how to connect all of the dots yet to understand it.
It's after 5.
Oh, okay, it's after 5 goes.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, okay, you need to try some of this for yourself because you're going to convince yourself that you can do something about it, okay?
And external protections, we speak a lot about in our videos. We didn't get to that today, about the devices and all that stuff, but we have a plethora of information on the YouTube, on the website about it. So, yeah.
That as well, or if you ever, because we do these, we started doing outreach, trying to come to these shows, so if you have any questions and another fair and you see us, just stop by and ask, okay?
Yeah, what we were selling at our table over there, yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
much.
Yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and if you do it and you're
Yeah,
practicing and you feel
yeah.
better and you
It
come
happened
and
this
tell
morning
us.
just before 7.
There you go, there you go.
We'd like to get back.
I'm so glad I'm here, so I just say I revoke any
Any agreements you make in dream time with any malicious being
Yeah.
and that'll cut the tie right away.
I was very suspicious and I'm like, what is that thing? I didn't want to even touch it.
Oh, yeah, you knew it was bad right off the bat.
I was very suspicious. That was so weird.
Yeah, oh yeah, it happens that way all the time, yeah.